It's Dave.
And Jerry.
And Dan.
All right, and welcome to another episode of Hooked On Headwaters. Today we've got a lake update, a fishing report, and we're going to discuss wacky rig fishing. Captain Dan's going to give us a little how to rig it up, how to fish it. Captain Jerry's going to give us a little update on the lake. I've got a special announcement I want to mention. We also want to talk about the cheaters. Remember a time ago, we had those tournament cheaters. Well, there was an update in terms of as far as their case, so I will share that all toward the end of the video. So let's get started with lake conditions and fishing update, and let's start with Captain Jerry.
What's going on?
I hear there's still some big gals out there and some big fish being caught.
Yeah, I think this new moon that we had, when was it, last week? New moon came in, which is really no moon. The new moon, and we had a little bit of cold weather, and I think what it did was we had another big group of females that were still kind of out and not come in and committed to being on the beds or getting rid of their eggs yet. And then now we are back to catching some big fish, but we are catching a lot. I've been catching a lot. Customers have been catching a lot of 7s, 8s, even a couple in the 9-pound range, but post-spawn fish. Right. And they're back in deep water again. Okay. So kind of catching them, you know, up on the shelf still, catching them up in the flats. There's still some. We caught several fish yesterday morning in the 7.5 pound range, still full of eggs. So I think that you still have some, but I think this is the last bit of them. But yeah, man, they're still doing their deal.
All right. What have you found, Captain Dan?
I found similar to the areas that I've been fishing in the last week and a half or so. I haven't caught any of the big females that were loaded with eggs. So Jerry and I have been fishing a little bit of different areas. My areas are a bit shallower for the most part that I've been fishing. Now I have some deeper water close by, but some of the shallower fish I've been catching, they're just not loaded up. Actually today, had a guy had a 7-pound 7-ounce, and it was 24 3/4.
Post.
So yeah, post-spawn fish. Now typically, guys, a fish that measures 24 inches in the state of Florida is usually an 8-pound fish. And I've had two in the last 2 or 3 weeks that were over 24 inches, but were under 8 pounds. And the fish, she did not look poor, but she was not full of eggs. You can tell she is rode out.
I had a gentleman yesterday caught one 7.45, long. You could tell she was probably 8.5 pounds at 9 pounds at
not
one
long
time.
ago.
Yeah. But like you said, she didn't look emaciated. She didn't look like she was poor. She just looked like she was freshly laid out. Just a big fish.
Yeah, real long fish.
Yeah. So where are we with the spawn kind of?
I think we're about 90% done.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
I think we're about 90% finished with it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of warm weather the last 3-4 weeks, so I think they're pretty well done. But that doesn't mean you can't keep catching fish, you know?
No.
We had like 35 fish today, I think it was. Yeah. Decent number on, most on shiners, a couple on some artificial ones. We ran out of shiners.
I think if you're an artificial guy, I think this is a good time of year for you.
Yeah, you start getting some decent numbers.
Yeah. I think, you know, spring's here, early summer. I think these fish are going to transition now. They're going to start moving in up here in shallow water in the evenings and the mornings, and I think you can I think this is just going to be fun for top water. You know, we got what we got, not to get off subject, but we got what we got going on over in the Stick Marsh with them dropping this water. I think there's going to be some unique fishing in there this summer that we're never going to have again after this summer. So I think, you know, it's going to be some good times still coming.
Yeah. You mentioned top water. On Monday, I had Junior White, his brother Jeff, and Junior's son Tristan, and in the first literally 5 minutes, we had 3 fish on top water first thing in the morning. Later in the morning, like mid-morning, Tristan caught one that was over 8 pounds on a swimming worm. Yep. So good job on that, Tristan. He is going to Auburn, and he's going to work to be on their fishing team.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, they have a fantastic college fishing team.
Yeah, they do really well, and I'm sure he'll be a good fit there. So good job, Tristan. But yeah, top water is pretty good Monday morning, and then I think a couple days ago it wasn't as good. You know, each day it kind of fluctuates. You know,
I think it depends on which. You know, I think these fish kind of set up, and whichever way that wind blows the next morning has a lot to do with what they're going to do and where they're going to do it at too. Yep. You know,
we still have some biologists that say that the spawn will
It will. It'll
continue. It's Florida.
We
It's
caught
just what happens
We
here.
caught one last year in the middle of April. It was 9.6 and she was loaded.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that was in Lake Kennsville. That's a little different area. Lake's a little different, but yeah, I think But last year it was cooler. Yeah. It's all going to depend on this weather, man.
Right.
And I'm seeing a lot of changes now too, and I'm seeing a lot in the flats we're fishing. I'm seeing a lot of gar. And I'm not sure. I think Dan was saying or it was you saying they're mating right now, right?
I don't know if it's right now. I don't remember.
I
but usually when you'll have a bigger female and multiples, they're
I see in that.
Okay.
So, and I'm thinking that's going on. But then I'm also putting two together, and I think that a lot of them are coming in these areas where we were catching these giant females 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I think these fish have laid their eggs and their fry have hatched, and I think these gar are in there feeding on some of these fry.
Yeah.
So I think that's going on right now too.
I was fishing with Eric from Pumper Spinnerbaits, and I'll have a video on that next week where we have some on the water footage. We have something really funny. Maybe not the Eric happened. It's all on video. And we'll do a little interview, and that'll be hopefully available next week. But we did see big gar. These big.
And they're in the shallows. We're not catching these. We're not even having any trouble issues with a gar in 18, 20 foot of water. Yeah. It's on these shallow flats. And I think a lot of that is you got summer. The water's temperature's rising. Summertime, they're horrible in the summer. They're everywhere. So I think that that has a lot to do with it too. That's in play. Is just that time of year's coming. So things are changing for sure, man. I think I'm gonna cry. It's almost over for the year. The big girls until December again.
Maybe.
Well, you catch them in the summer. Early morning topwater. Spinner bait, stuff like that. Yeah.
My biggest fish out there I caught in the summer is 9 even. So
there you go. There you go.
Speaking of time of year, I'm sure you've noticed too, the water levels are starting to get low. So the areas you guys that have fished here before where you're running last year,
be careful.
Yeah, it's getting shallow. I mentioned this in a previous video. If you're running shallow areas and you feel your boat rise and settle, what's happening is there's not enough time for that water to move out from under your boat, and it gives extra lift, or it doesn't compress as well. So that's why your boat's rising. That's an indication you're running an area with shallow water. Also, I'm sure you noticed this too at the ramp. The way the ramp was constructed, the angle that you back down when you come down with the truck is not the same as what's in the water. So when you're backing down, this is your angle. The ramp, when your boat goes in the water, drops more steeply. And that's something I've had a little issue with lately, and I've seen it a lot. So when the water gets low at that particular ramp,
that now that you weren't.
So what you have to do to load your boat, you got to load drier, and by that I mean you don't back your trailer as far in, because if you do, your bow will get under your front roller.
That's right.
And I see it just about every day I'm there, I'm having to notice I have to adjust my trailer a little bit drier because the angle has changed.
So you've got to ride it more up on there that way, or otherwise you're going to go underneath that front roller.
Yeah. And I did put my power pole down on the east side of the ramp. I think it was yesterday, and it didn't go all the way down, and it was solid. I think there's a piece of concrete or rock there, so just be careful beaching, especially if the water gets much lower. I didn't hit my motor, but still, be careful.
Now I can tell you right now, for some people have seen my boat in the videos and some haven't, but I run an 18-foot flats boat with a 6-inch jack plate, and in the last week I've had to get out of my boat twice and kind of eased over an area and then get back in it. So I mean, and I run a lot shallower draft in the bass boat, so guys, just be careful right now. It's going to come to a point here in the next few weeks where probably the only way you'll be able to get into the north and the south pits will be from the east-west entrance from that canal, because I mean all these crossroads, it's all getting ready to get super shallow.
Any updates as far as thick marsh?
It's down about 4 foot from what I've heard. I don't know if it's quite that far, but I was up there earlier in the week in Headwaters. We walked up there on the dike, and I seen some stuff I ain't never seen before.
I'm going to venture out next week on my kayak. Now, I
don't even think it's going to be good. I thought it was going to be good to be in there in the airboat. I was going to have an advantage, but I don't even think that it's going to be safe to be in there, because things that are under 4 foot of water right now, they might only be 4 inches underwater then. And even though it has no motor, that's like landmines. I mean, you're constant. So it may be a kayak or a walking deal.
Yeah, or maybe a small john boat ran slowly, moving around slowly.
9.9.
Yeah, easy.
I hear the ramp will be closed.
Oh, really?
I'm not certain. I put a request into FWC.
I didn't know that.
To shed some light on this.
Airboat ramp too, or just the bass boat ramp?
I've heard the bass boat, the regular.
Correct, because
ramp.
we can go other places in airboat. They're not going to close that.
And that also gives access to the from an airboat to the other lakes. So I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I'm waiting for an update from FWC. Hopefully we'll have them here.
Well, we don't even have to come in from the lake because we can actually go out and come down Big M, come back up Zigzag, and come in right there at Duck Camp, and we don't have to go out there in them sticks or anything at all. You can come right there by the gates and come in.
Yeah. It may be, and the reason that and I'm just speculation. The ramp, at the end of the ramp, what may happen if they keep it just drops off and you drop your trailer in there. And if you never had a trailer that falls off the end of the
You're
ramp,
not getting it back up.
It's not cool. It'll rip an axle off, so might be
just
better.
to remind everyone, St. John has been dropping stick marsh since February about an inch a day, more or less.
And they're
supposed to keep going to the end of April.
Okay.
My understanding. Right?
Okay.
And then it's called a revegetation project. So they're not necessarily changing the landscape.
You're looking at another 30 inches, at least probably another 30 inches that's going to drop.
And they just I understand, again, they're pulling out old vegetation and replanting some other stuff. Hopefully we get more.
That's exactly right.
FWC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the next segment, and that's wacky rig, wacky worm fishing, I want to be sure to thank the Blue Cypress Lakeside Cabins for their support. It is a great place to stay. It's really old Florida, a rustic setting. Cool back porch there to hang out, have an adult drink, grill, and Jim and them will take care of you for sure. So be sure to check them out. And I don't want to forget American Bait Works for their support. And if you order anything from AmericanBaitWorks.com, rods, tackle, lures, you get 15% if you mention Headwaters 15 in the coupon code. Okay, so I've got a little update regarding I call them the cheaters. These are walleye tournament fishermen, and they got caught stealing. I'm sure majority
everybody's heard about it.
They were stuffing lead sinkers inside the fish.
And fish fillets.
They were still talking about it at the boat ramp just last week. Somebody was talking about it. So it's everywhere.
So just recently, an update came out regarding their sentencing.
Is that what it was?
If you want to call it that, you guys comment below. Tell us what you think. I think it's pathetic. But, that's my opinion. And in their plea with I guess this was the Ohio prosecutors, Jacob Runyon, that's the guy, one guy, and Chase Komisky, they're the two fishermen that got caught. They agreed to a 3-year suspension of their fishing license. Big deal. They will also have to return their $100,000 boat and trailer that they won in a tournament used to commit crime. That's how they got them on that. The prosecutors also recommend a 6-month probation. Wow. And which upon successful completion of which their records will be expunged.
Like it never happened.
Poof.
After 3 years, it'll disappear.
Yep. And charges of attempted grand theft and possessing criminal tools are dropped as part of the they get sentenced May 11th. That's the update. I don't know. What do you think this does to tournament fishing going forward? What do you think about this sentence? Please comment below. I just think they got their hands slapped.
Don't sound like it.
It don't sound like they did a whole lot to them. I mean,
here's the thing though, in the fishing world, they're finished. They have zero credibility.
And
that might be the worst of it all.
Yeah.
They'll never fish a tournament again.
No, and they'll probably end up not fishing anymore.
Yeah.
And even deeper than that, and I'm sure these guys are feeling it. Now they got kids, their wives are looking at them like, this is my dad.
Yeah.
So don't cheat. It's not, if you cheat, you're really just a loser, you know? It's unfortunate.
All around. You're a loser in life at that point.
You know, it's deeper than that. I mean, there's 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 something going on. You don't, you know, grown men, there's something,
they couldn't,
something going on with them.
They couldn't press charges for prior tournaments, which everyone knows they cheated, but there's no
you can't
evidence.
prove that. That's over and all done with.
So,
but yeah, you know,
it's
a deeper issue than that, man. These guys got real problems.
So anyway, give us share your thoughts, comment below. My other announcement is this is a local. If you're local to Palm Bay, Melbourne, Fellsmere, we are hosting, or my church is hosting, an outdoor sports expo. So we're bringing in professional guides. These guys, so you get an opportunity to talk with them. A couple other fellers, a safety boat guy, Mr. Tony, who's done some search and rescue up in Okeechobee, law enforcement, and everything from fishing to hunting, pickleball, disc golf. We're gonna have it all, and the objective is to get families in, and share these resources, information. How do you get started? Where do you go? How to become better? And what are best practices?
Gonna have some casting.
Yeah, we're gonna have a couple of casting games and stuff.
Yeah.
Archery for the kids, hot dogs for everyone, and soda. And the best part, it's all free. And that's at Center Point Church in Palm Bay, Florida, which is just about half an hour, 25 minutes from here. So that's April 14th, 6:30. Friday night. These guys will be there. I'll be there. A bunch of other guys. So if you're in the area,
I'm bringing the airboat.
He's bringing the airboat. He's bringing the other boat, and we got a couple other boats coming. We've got some vet organizations coming out. 2 veteran.
You have a guy that does like a professional shooter, right?
Yes, we have some target tournament shooters experts coming as well.
That'd be cool.
Some target safety. Discussion,
good time.
all around outdoor. It'll be a good event. It's only 2 hours or so, and in kind of in central Palm Bay there. So don't miss it.
It'll be fun.
Okay, so now our last segment, we want to turn it over to Captain Dan. He's going to talk about wacky fishing, wacky worm,
wacky rigging,
wacky worm fishing.
Okay, so if you guys don't know what a wacky
I'm going
rig
to go
is,
back to the camera so I can do a. Oops.
Okay, get out of here.
A nut.
Are you gonna go there and smoke something?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Okay, so I guess I'll just start here, Dave. Okay, so a wacky rig, guys, is just a straight tail worm like a Cinco or Cinco style bait. However, you don't rig it like I normally do. I normally rig it with just a 3/0 extra wide gap Gamakatsu. And throw it weightless. Sometimes I'll put a bullet weight on it, a small bullet weight, and fish it that way. And basically you fish, you know,
Texas rig kind of
like a Texas rig.
Okay.
So what a wacky rig is, it's even more, in my opinion, a little more finessey than even just fishing a Cinco. So I use a small light hook with a weed guard. This happens to be a Nico rig hook, which is the little brother or big sister, whichever you want to call it, to a wacky rig. It just happens to incorporate a weight, but we'll get into that some other time. So what you can do with this wacky rig, you're just going to take your regular hook. I prefer one with a weed guard. And you take it and you put the hook directly through the center of the worm. You just hook it just like this. It looks like your little son or daughter, 5-year-old, put a bait on a hook.
That's it.
And it's so super simple. But it works very well. It's really finessey.
Very well in headwaters.
Yeah. So the reason I use the weed guard, let me show you the hooks just so you can kind of get an idea. This happens to be a VMC. I use a 1 or 2/0. Now I know there are wacky rig hooks. I saw these, I liked them, I picked them up. Doesn't make a difference. But it does have a small monofilament weed guard, 2 little pieces of monofilament. Here we go, we got one right here, that protect the point of the hook.
Yeah, I like that.
So it helps to it sheds the grass. So being that this is a really lightweight technique and a finesse technique, it's good to have a weed guard. So there's another way to rig this that I actually like better. So this is a tool you can find at most of your tackle shops that carry a fair amount of fresh water. It's just a piece of hollow aluminum with a screw in the end, but on here on the end there's O-rings that are just a bit smaller than the diameter of the worm. So what you're going to do is you're going to take an O-ring, you're going to slide it up the tool almost to the end, just like that. There's our O-ring.
That's the way to do it right there.
Yeah. So what you slide the worm into, it's a hollow little pipe.
That's perfect right there.
You slide it in, you slide your O-ring right onto the worm.
Absolutely.
So now I like to rig mine instead of directly in the center. A lot of guys will rig it directly in the center. I rig it here and it actually causes the worm to fall kind of at an angle.
Okay.
Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to go just through
and
the O-ring.
Saves that bait, doesn't it, Dan?
Oh my gosh. The other day I had somebody caught like 8 fish on one worm.
Correct.
And if it's a Yamamoto brand, you get 1, maybe 2 out of it.
Does
anytime.
It pop off the O-ring when the fish hits it?
No.
It just stays there.
Pretty much every time you'll catch the fish, the worm will be left on there, and you just pull
That's
right
the way
back
to
down
do
there.
it right there.
Yeah. So it's super simple. It doesn't look like much. It kind of looks kind of dumb.
But they eat it up in there, man.
They eat it up. So the way I fish is let's go over to tackle. So I prefer a lighter spinning rod because again, this is a finesse technique. I do like braid. My main line is braid, and I'll either use 12 or 15 pound fluorocarbon tippet or leader.
What braid? What size? 30?
The braid, no, it's actually 20. You can go 15, or you can go 10. 10 is just kind of getting hard to tie.
Yeah,
20,
really
I can cast as far as I need to go, and I know it's strong.
And that 20 will cast that light too. It'll just,
you'll get plenty of distance with it. So
yeah, I like that.
the areas you can fish this just about anywhere. I've been fishing more open water with pockets and holes in hydrilla.
Yeah.
But I also really like to target fish with it. So a stand of cattails with an edge or a little piece of brush, you just cast that dude over there, and you just let her sink. So you'll make your cast, and you let it sink because it sinks very slowly, just like a regular Senko would. And this is how I fish it. It's just a twitch, tiny movement, small. So you got to keep in mind, guys, that
do you get that thump, or does he just load up on it?
Both. Sometimes you'll feel it, but usually it's more like I don't know if I'm hung.
That's heavy. Yeah.
You know, and then you'll feel him kind of a little tug, and you pull into it. So, but the fishing it's just a twitch. Anything you do with a rod tip is very exaggerated in the water.
Yeah.
So you're just going to want to twitch because you don't want the bait to go by that far. It'll
get inactive fish too, because it's staying in that strike zone for a while.
Yeah. So it's really finessey. So
I like that.
Less is more with the Wacky rig, in my opinion. I've had people there, they're wanting to catch fish, so they're fishing too fast, and I say, hey, just
let it go.
If you think you're fishing too slow,
slow down.
So,
where do you get these at? Anywhere or Bass Pro Shop? Really
you can get them at any decent tackle shop. Just Nico rig. I think I happen to buy those at Bass Pro Shop. I think
Nico 2-aughts.
Just for information, we're not affiliated with the guys. But in Melbourne, which is just up the road from Palm Bay, there's a tackle store called Strike Zone. They are outstanding with their inventory. I mean, they got freshwater, a lot of freshwater gear, all manner of saltwater stuff, high quality reels, rods.
Really?
Years ago, I used to work there when it was under a different name.
Okay.
But it's just if you need something a little more than just Bass Pro or Academy, which are good. This place is, and their employees know what they're talking about. So anyway, back to our Wacky rig. One good thing I like about this is I can hand this to a person that is not a novice, and they can catch fish with this technique and with this bait because the fish essentially hooks themselves. And they say, oh, I think I'm hooked or hung on grass. and next thing you know, the grass starts pulling back. It's great for kids, you know, just getting them started. It's simple.
Yeah.
You can just reel and hook the fish. You don't even have to set the hook. So I've been doing pretty well with this. It's kind of funny. I've been fishing some of the areas I've been fishing. I've been throwing a jerk bait, and it's like a really an aggressive style of fishing. And then I'll have somebody throw the wacky worm.
And they'll outfish you.
Well, no, not necessarily. Jerk bait's kind of been doing a little better.
Yeah.
On certain days.
Yeah.
But the only problem is on a windy day, this gets kind of tough to fish.
Mm-hmm.
But Wacky rig, guys, give it a shot. Let us know how you like to rig it, where you like to fish it. Obviously, we're in Florida. We like grass because that's what we have. I like the O-ring. Maybe you guys think there's a better way or a reason to hook through the bait.
Yeah.
I tend to prefer it just like this. Save yourself a lot of tackle. So, write us a comment. Let us know what you think, guys.
All right, thanks, Captain Dan, for that. That's some good information there. Wacky worm.
In a wacky week.
It's an interesting way to fish.
I like
definitely going to go to it
Sure.
next trip. So with that said, that brings us to the end of this episode. I want to thank everyone for watching. By the way, if you're interested in getting one of the shirts, we have a limited amount of these. We have a few of these. Let me know. Either you can email me, Dave at hookedonheadwaters.com, or go to our website, go to the contact page, fill that out, complete it, and I'll contact you and get those shirts off to you. Jerry, any last words? Good? Yeah.
Fish on, I guess, man. You know what? Fish on. What else is
I'm spent. I got that's all the things I was talking about. So.
All right. Once again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps us out. It helps us when we talk to people about the channel. It will be consider us a favor, and we appreciate the support. So long now. Have a great week, and God bless you. See you on the next one.
Be safe.
See you guys.